Hi everyone, welcome back to another video. In this video, we're going to be looking at a particular stock in mind called Open. If you're unfamiliar with it, it has been getting some attention this week as a meme stock. I'm sure you've seen it in the headlines in CNBC and Jim Cramer, but I want to bring it to you all and talk to you about what I am looking at in this company. And also I did open a position in it. So let's get started on this. First up here, I want to go ahead and look at the chart. This is year to date. Of course, I am on Webull. I'm not on Robinhood at the moment, but we will be using both platforms and you're going to see exactly why. For a couple of the things here that I want to talk about is obviously the price per share. We're sitting at $4.45 per share, and we can actually see where the total revenue for this company has been going. We can see that quarter by quarter, it has been, somewhat of a mixed bag, but here is the total net income. And this is where it kind of changes the picture here. So we can see they are starting to turn a profit, which is nice to see after quarter after quarter after missing. So I like to see that in the income statement. Of course, operating income here, it's still negative. It was drastically negative back in 2024, but we can see in 2025, Q2 has been changing. So this company is becoming profitable, which makes sense as to why this company was actually spiking in price per share. If we actually look at the latest report, it was actually not too long ago on August 5th, 2025. And that is when we could started to see some of that volatility in this particular stock. We were sitting around $1.89. Wasn't the best right there, we can see, and you can actually see the price right up here if you're wondering where that price is. It's good to see that, and we can see some of the spikes here and where it was going as high as almost $5. We can see that high right there. We actually hit back on the 25th of August for almost $6. So this company is turning a profit, and we can see not too long ago we were only at 50 cents a share. That is crazy, back in June of this year. Now, why is this company actually getting some attention? It's because what's happening is this company actually is in the digital space of real estate. So I like to see that. If we actually come back to the max time frame, we can see this has actually been as high as $39.24 per share, which is quite staggering since we are only at $4.45 per share. So that is why I actually opened a position on it, very small, just for fun and just to see what this is actually going to look like for a long-term hold. But I actually like to see that this company is turning a profit. Of course, we can look at the balance sheet here. This is why I like to use Webull, because we can actually quickly look at exactly the numbers right there. Go ahead and pause it if you want to take a closer look. And of course, we can look at liabilities very quickly. We can see that their debt has also been changing as well. And of course, debt to asset ratio, of course, I like to look at that. We can look at the cash flow. So we can see operating cash flow is continuing to go up, which is why this stock makes sense why it was going up. And of course, where they are investing and the financing part of it. And we can also see biannual, which is nice to see. And we can of course go quarterly. We can see where people are actually kind of rating this. I don't typically like to pay attention to this, but it's something to keep in mind. We can see where the actual growth is, their projected order flow, and of course the comments, but I really don't pay attention to too much of that. The point is that this company is something to watch, and I'm excited to see where it's going. Jump onto Robinhood and let's talk a little bit more about this. Now that we are in Robinhood, some things that I was actually thinking about doing with this company. So this company is so dirt cheap that I went ahead and just put a few bucks in there, own only, a few shares, nothing too fancy, but I just wanted to experiment because this company is continuing to outperform. I mean, look at that year-to-date performance. We're at 170.78%, and we'll see where this company goes long-term, but they are turning a profit, which is why I am keeping an eye on this. Why am I bringing this up to you all? So this company back here in 2021 was rocketing sky high because of the bubble that we were in. And of course, that was the COVID bubble. We all remember that. But this company has not been doing so great since. They're based out of Tempe, Arizona. Here is some information if you want to go ahead and read that. I like the company overall. I think it's good. And one other thing to mention here, and it's nice to see this, is where the actual hedge funds are actually operating on this. They've been selling a lot, and of course, Robinhood and insiders as well. We can see the latest, actual reports. They've actually been beating some of that EPS, which is the estimated amounts per share. We can see that quickly basically right there. The thing that I'm actually thinking about doing on this specific position is actually I'm going to do an options trade. So I want to actually walk through that with you and what I'm thinking here, but we'll see where this goes. And I'm actually thinking about buying a call. I was looking at some of the dates here, and go ahead and give me some feedback of what you all think on this. I'm thinking because the price is going up, we could actually buy a call. I'm thinking maybe like 5, something like that, or even 5.5. But we can go ahead and look at where the actual percentage is. Of course, remember the delta. And of course, we want to get something at least 50% because we can see, you know, down here, there's a 50% chance of profit. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is I think I'm going to actually go ahead and do the 5.5. That's more likely what I'm going to do. And I think I'm going to actually add probably at least, I'm thinking like 12. So like $900. Interesting about this, right, is that if we do a call option, right, obviously the max loss is 900, you know, for whatever reason, it goes down to 0, right? That's how much we lose. But if we gain, right, look at how much money we gain, right? We can actually put up 900, but we can make over 1,000 depending on where that price is. Notice how that price continues to go up, right? So I'm wondering on the long term, you know, is this worth $900 going ahead and putting this in and do a call option? I think it is worth a shot, but I am not entirely sure. So we'll see. But it's something I wanted to keep all of you up to date with because I'm looking at it closely. And of course, this is a promising company because it deals with the digital real estate space. Let me know if you have any more questions or you want to talk more about this stock. I have more financials we can dive into later on in another video. Thank you as always for supporting the channel. Let me know if you have any more questions and I'll see you in the next video.